Welcome. It's Monday, July 29th. Um, let's see. It's just a quick reminder, we're going to spend the next few minutes just stimulating some parts of our nervous system and our being that will hopefully serve us in finding a little more equanimity and stability in our day to day. And one of the things I've been noticing in my own practice of late is some procrastination energy. And I love this quote. This is actually by a business guy called Alex Hormozy. And he says, the magic you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. And of late, this has definitely been bouncing around my brain. So when I find myself in this state of just a sort of a disconnectedness, not wanting to deal, finding excuses, oh, it's too hot, or this is it's Sunday, I don't want to do whatever it is. I think to myself, this quote has just been resonating over and over. So it's like, what is it that you're avoiding, Ollie? And if what would it be like if you actually engaged with it? um and then that leads to this, I think, one of uh these steps of what it means to become something, right? So on some level, I think we all want to become more mindful and more generous and kinder, and there's sort of these labels that we attach to, and we say, well, this is the kind of person I would like to be. And so the question is, well, today or right here, right now, what does it mean? What can we do to move ourselves down this continuum or this process? And so I could break it down in this way. So first, we have this intention. I want to become more mindful. So it's just an idea. And then we say, okay, this idea needs to get translated into some kind of action. So right here, right now, what would it look like if I was more mindful? So what would that mean? And it might mean slowing down, closing my eyes, doing something that says, okay, this to me is what it means to become more mindful. And then I say, oh, okay, now I know that I need to actually do this kind of over and over again, right? So I need to turn this into a practice. I can't just do it once and cross my fingers and hope for the best. There's something about, oh, this works because if I keep doing it, then it changes my nervous system and so on. So then slowly but steadily, we build up a habit. And a habit is just something it's a kind of behavior that is baked into our day to day. And it's not this extraordinary thing, but it just becomes a very ordinary behavior that we just have incorporated into how we live our life. And then eventually, if we practice a habit long enough, it is who so it becomes reflective or representative of who we have become, right? So we go from, gosh, I wish I was a more mindful person, or I wish I practiced mindfulness more, to I do this so frequently, or I do this so consistently that my brain, my body, my attitude and so forth, so much of it is such a familiar space that I can safely say that I've become a more mindful person, or I've become more grateful, or I've become kinder, or I've become fill in the blank. So I like this, this sort of stepwise process of just saying everything starts with the intention that we then need to turn into some kind of action. And if we repeat that frequently enough, at some point we cross this threshold where we become what we've been practicing. So I thought today let's practice some mindfulness. Again, this is like positivity 101. And the goal today is to stay attuned with what it's like to just be a witnesser or aware of a certain object of our attention, and to see what it's like to not engage in the distractions that are inevitably going to appear, and then also to not engage in what oftentimes is sort of a negative or a judgmental narrative that kicks in that says, oh, I suck at this, I can never do this, oh, here I go again, I've completely lost my focus and now I'm drifting off, and it's so typical, right? So see if we can just genuinely hang back and just watch it all happen, being open-hearted, open-minded, and just for a few minutes, just bear witness to what it is to be a human being with thoughts and feelings and sensations. So let's start by closing our eyes. And I think I've mentioned this several times before. My immediate instinct when I close my eyes is to take a deep breath in. It's just like I just noticed it. It's an automatic, I don't know if it's a habit, it's just something that I do. So let's start with a few intentional deep breaths. So take a deep breath in through the nose, long, slow exhale through the mouth, another deep inhale through the nose, long exhale through the mouth, and then just let the body breathe on its own. Noticing sounds and sensations. Like I can literally hear my in breath of echoing through my head, my cranium. Feeling the sensation of the diaphragm moving, lungs inflating, and deflating, belly expanding and contracting. And just bearing witness to the body breathing. And I'm intentionally referring to the body because if you really pay attention, there's something somewhat impersonal about it. Like it's not me that's breathing. I Ollie, I'm not doing anything specific. It's really that I'm just beginning to bear witness to the fact that I inhabit this body and it's breathing all the time. So that's sort of the first step to simply noticing what is and uncoupling the sense of me or I from it. Just watch it. How much of our suffering comes from this false sense of ownership? This, this is me. I am the one that's breathing rather than realizing that no, I'm bearing witness to this body that's breathing, or I'm bearing witness to this brain and this mind that is thinking and remembering, or worrying. I'm bearing witness to the palms of my hands that are sweating a little bit, bearing witness to the belly growling and gurgling, a lot of space between the I that is consciousness that is bearing witness to it and all of these sensations or experiences. And typically, the longer we stay silent, the more space we create, the more the mind has a tendency to want to fill that space. That's just something to notice. The more we simply try to do nothing, the more impatient the mind typically gets and wants to start thinking or doing or figuring things out. So again, we're just noticing that tendency. The mind typically doesn't like inactivity or space. And so that's the very reason we slow down and we create this space to get curious and to really begin to learn how the mind and the brain and the nervous system works. We want to become more aware of the inner workings. And if at any point you get lost in thought, one of the tricks is to just bring your attention back to breath, the full cycle of breath, starting at the nostrils, the throat, and the shoulders, the chest, the belly. Just give your mind something to focus on. And then try taking a step back again. And go ahead and take a deep breath in. Long exhale through the mouth. And then hold that exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes. Come on back. Um, yeah, so this is a pretty basic practice. I'd say the main takeaway is if at any point today you find yourself being lost in stuff that seems stressful or anxiety provoking or whatever it might be, see if you can just bring your attention to your breath, notice the body breathing, and then notice that sensation of bearing witness or observing the body, of, being the one that's seeing something unfolding, and just see how that, changes your mood or your experience. Anyway, hope that was helpful. I'll stick around for a few. Talk to you soon. Hopefully see you tomorrow.